Hey guys, welcome back to the Interceptor. We are here with war number 11 of season 49, and Matrix has matched up against DD13. Now this is a little bit of a favorable matchup for us because we are usually consistently in Masters, and this alliance is either in the top or at the bottom 10 in Masters or the top of Platinum 1. So we definitely were happy with this matchup, but we know that we need to be on our A game because there are a lot of alliances right now in this current meta because it's a fairly easy meta. Like, it's not an incredibly easy one, but it's a fairly easy one, and there's a lot of alliances that are capable of putting up very good scores if they just have a good war, so we need to be careful. This is one of the most insane rank ups I've seen. Rank 5 Ascended Kraven. I guarantee you that player was forced to do that rank up. I guarantee it. No one in their right mind willingly ranks Kraven A to rank 5 and B ascends him just for him to be placed on some random diversity node and do absolutely nothing on defense. He's not even useful as a Battlegrounds defender. He's terrible. This is literally for the sole purpose of war diversity. Like, that blows my mind. I don't even do rank ups for war diversity. Well, like, I don't do rank 5 Ascended rank ups very often unless it's a champ I'm going to use otherwise. The only meta rank I did this whole season, I did 2. I did 7-star Killmonger to rank 3 I did for defense, and then I also did Hitmonkey to rank 5 for defense, but I didn't ascend him, and I would not have if I was asked by my officer, because that's a stupid ascension. He got 0 kills the whole meta. Out of 24 wars, he got 0 kills. War 12 is already over, so I know that for a fact. But yeah, that's a little bit of an absurd matchup. I understand, and I would absolutely myself do rank ups if they were smart rank ups. But rank 5ing and ascending a champion that is barely useful for a couple wars on defense just to have him sit in your roster unused for the next few years, I don't understand that. I'll never understand that. But we did have a crossfight placed on us, which is going to be active for the rest of the war. Luckily, it's combat power rate, and the majority of Hood's power comes from power control, so I was not worried about that. I wasn't really concerned. On this node here, we have a rank 5 Ascended Doom. There's not much to say about this fight, but the main threat of this fight is completely shut down, which is the Nullify, as long as you just don't hit him while he has aura up. Because you can let him trigger aura, that's completely fine. As long as you don't hit him, he can't nullify you. As long as you don't make contact, even into the block, or him hitting into your block, or anything like that. So we just need to slow play him a little bit, baited an SP1, waited for aura to expire, then threw in a few L2s in the L2 cycle, and he does go down pretty easily. We are going off to Path 8, Section 2 here, and I have Crossbones on the first fight. This is a pretty normal matchup. I've taken Crossbones quite a few times this season with Hood, and I'm actually going to do it again. I have him next war on Path 7, Section 1, the first node, the Shrug-Off node, where, or the Damage Reflection node for Shrug-Off, where the defender's inflicted with 2 debuffs when the attacker throws a special, which is going to be very, very easy, but I understand it. I understand the placement of Crossbones on a node like this, because if you do use a champion that lets him get buffs, he can get his attack rating increase a lot. But when you're using a champion that A, nullifies, and B, staggers, there's just simply no risk to the fight. Also, something I should mention about my team for this war is that we have the full HOOD Trinity for the first time this meta. Actually, I think I had Strife once or twice last season, but this was the first time this season I've had the full Trinity. And I'm sure you know what the Mole Man synergy does because I talk about it pretty often, where it just gives you 3 bullets back every single time you knock down the defender, regardless of how that knockdown occurs, whether it be a special attack or a heavy attack. As long as said heavy attack does not end the fight, you will gain bullets immediately after. This fight here is pretty straightforward, so I'm not going to talk about it. I'm just going to talk about the Strife synergy. So what the Strife synergy does is it gives Hood plus 50% attack while you have invisibility up. And if you don't know why that's such a big deal, then you need to understand the way that the detonation damage works. So the way Hood's detonation damage works is that it does damage for each hex on the opponent, which are inflicted by your bullets. But the way it works is that the damage for each individual hex is not calculated at the moment it is inflicted. It's calculated at the moment that the detonation occurs. So if you build up a bunch of hexes regardless of how it is, but you detonate them while you have invisibility up, all of the hexes benefit from the plus 50% attack, which means you need significantly less bullets to kill each fight as long as the fight is ended during invisibility. And you are going to see me do that because I have a good idea in my head from all my experience of roughly how many bullets it takes to kill a fight based on how much health they have left. But if I were to apply those numbers, I would be doing overkill when I have the Strife synergy, so I need to throw heavy earlier than I think. I don't have to. It's obviously just as safe to throw an extra special 2, especially when that special 2 is going to be power controlling, but it's not necessary is basically what I'm saying. Is I know for a fact that not only are my heavy attacks going to do a lot more, the detonation's going to do a lot more, also special attacks are going to do a lot more, because when you're in your L2 cycle, you have invisibility up for the entirety of your SP2 as well as the combo before, so the power back boosts you're using are also enhanced, so it kind of just helps Hood out everywhere. This fight, Sersi on 42, really straightforward fight. You just have to throw 3 L2s. If I threw a heavy attack immediately after 2 L2s and the protection was down, it would kill. But unfortunately, the cycle that I like to use for Hood on this node does not work with 2 L2s because of the timing of the protection. So you always have to throw a third one. Not really a big deal because for most fights, that third L2 is necessary to get enough hexes for your heavy attack to kill. But with the Strife synergy, it's just not. So the only purpose I do it is for maintaining my cycle of the protection being down right after my special. So that fight was really straightforward. I do the normal strategy where I parry heavy, phase, medium, light, 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 back, phase, medium, light, 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 medium, SP2, and that always gets me to L2 as long as I get 1 power steal on one of my first 2 hits, which pretty much always happens. It's very, very unlikely to not happen. And if it does, then I'll just take a little block damage, beta heavy. This fight here, node 45 Gladiator, pretty straightforward fight. It's hazard shift, but as long as you have the fate seal up, you're reducing the odds for hazard shift to trigger on each hit from 40% all the way down to 14%. So it becomes a rather trivial part of the fight. It doesn't really impact it as much as hazard shift normally would, because imagine hazard shift except it triggers 1/3 as often, and that's basically just how the fight works with Hood. So here, this is a fight I had a lot of trouble with in the past, and the last time I took this fight was the end, I believe it was War 11 or 12 of Season 48. Before now, that's the last time I took this. And since then, I watched that fight a bunch of times, the fight that didn't go so well. I've never died to this fight, but I've had the fight become extremely sketchy where he started spamming L2s. And the reason the fight went well didn't go well, is because I just had a really bad strategy for the fight. I just didn't plan it, and I was trying to just wing it basically every single time. And that's why it didn't go well. So I came into this fight with an actual strategy, an actual idea of how I wanted to cycle this fight down. And you'll see it's going pretty well so far, because the main issue for this fight is when he gets the sovereignty buff and he becomes stun immune, or at least immune to stun debuffs. He's not fully stun immune. And with the vigilance, because Fate Seal can't prevent vigilance while he has the sovereignty buff up, there's no way to get an opening unless you bait a heavy attack or he throws a special. So that's where the trouble comes into the fight, is that what if he doesn't throw a special, he gets to his L2, starts spamming it because his specials only cost a bar of power and power gain is a thing. You can see how the fight would become sketchy. But there, we just managed to L2 cycle him. The one time I did have to bait out a heavy, he threw it nicely, because if he hits a few times into your block, he goes unblockable. So I know after the second hit, if he doesn't throw a heavy attack, I have to dash back, which I was anticipating. I was ready to do I was ready to do that if I had to, but I did not have to, because after I dashed back, after taking the second blocked hit, he threw a special, and I know how to dash in and block it. But that fight went really well, and I'm very happy that I got to take that again before the meta ended, so I could kind of compare my bad fights to my good fight now. And it's kind of crazy how much better it is. But that's not the end of the war, for me. The reason, if you look in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen right now, I think you know what the reason is. A certain player by the name of Intercept69420 has joined the battle group. So I was talking last war about how we kicked a member after he basically broke our rules of how we deal with deaths, and after you have a death, you have to stop fighting. I was not involved in the situation whatsoever. I had no input in him being kicked, because I know it was after the deadline, and that's generally frowned upon. I've been on the receiving end of that. I have lost season rewards because Alliance has decided to kick me with no warning right at the end of the season before rewards came in and they knew what they were doing. So I'm very much against that, but that was not the reason. Basically, the reason he was kicked was not due to his poor performance. It was due to something else that I'm not going to get into, simply because I don't know quite enough on the topic. I have like a general idea, but I'm not going to say anything about it. And it's kind of hard to find someone to play for the last two wars when you know they're not getting rewards. So I told my officer, hey, let me know if you don't find anyone, because I have an alt account that can always sub. Now, the defense I was placing was pretty bad. I was placing, I think it was 3 7-star rank 1s, a 6-star rank 4, and a 6-star rank 3 on defense. So obviously I got no kills, but I did get a fight. This is Path 6, Section 1, Node 16? 15? Node 15. And this is actually a rank 3 7-star bishop. And I actually took my Hercules to rank 5 for this one fight, because I figured if I'm going to sub, bring in a weaker account, I'm at least not going to die. So my idea here, I'm running full Cosmic Boost. I'm running like 30% green, 15% attack, pretty much everything I have. My goal here is to not let him throw a special attack. And in hindsight, I definitely underrated how much my L2 would do, because it's going to fully nuke him here after I get this L2 intercept. And what I could have done is I could have just thrown the L2, chained it from a combo, only gotten 1 precision, and my L2 would have stunned him, and probably brought him under 10%, and with decent crit RNG. And then I could have gone in and done a combo into an L1 with the stun from the L2 that definitely would have killed. But the reason I didn't try to dex the L2 is because as soon as he threw it, I looked to see if he went unblockable, and he didn't. Had he gone unblockable, I would have attempted to dex it, and I would have been completely fine. But yeah, I did take one fight. I also had 2 white mags with me, so I placed a couple white mags pre-fights for some people. I was actually supposed to place a white mags pre-fight for my main account, um, but which was the Gladiator on node 45. I was technically supposed to wait for Wags, but because I had to double a path in section 2 to give someone a white mags pre-fight there, I decided I didn't want to wait around for that person to wake up, and I just wanted to clear the fights on my main right away. But it was kind of fun. You know, this is not the first time that this alt account has been in Masters Alliance War. I had to do the same thing for ISO 8A. Now, this was not while I was with ISO 8A. It was after I left. But they basically... I'm still in their main chat, and they were saying, like, oh, we really need a guy. So I just messaged the leader. I'm like, hey, do you want a sub? I have an alt account that's, like, a decent level. And I was in the Alliance for, like, the last 4 or 5 wars. Not really important here, but just saying, like, I'm glad that this account could contribute a little bit. They did end up finding a sub for War 12, so I did end up I didn't end up doing the same thing for War 12. I didn't end up playing again, but it was fun. You know, just do this one war. And I am going to count that as a fight towards the season. So I technically, like, one of the fights in my record is from my alt account, not my main account, but who cares? Because it's my account. Like, I created this account. I used to stream this account all the time. It's not like I'm taking someone else's account and piloting or anything like that, right? Like, it's my own account. And yeah, that's it. We ended up winning this war. We won this war with a score of 10-7, so a decent war by us, but not our best of the season. Not our worst. It was our second best war of the season, but they did better than we expected. 10 deaths is pretty solid for a Platinum 1 Alliance, or like a low Masters Alliance. So we're now 6-5. My death total is at 3 for the season, and my PSR is now at 69. Nice. Out of 72, which is 96%. And my deathless streak is up to 32 fights, so that streak's getting up there. I'm pretty happy, because after my terrible start to the season, dying 3 times in the first 7 wars, it's kind of nice getting a good streak going at the end of the season. But that is going to be all for today. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next video. War 12 should be posted either a day or 2 after this one. I'm trying to get them out, but my work schedule is so crazy right now that I probably only have like 15 to 30 minutes a day of free time to actually record and edit these things. So I'm doing the best I can. I know my uploads are not perfectly scheduled like they were for a while, but I'm trying my best. That's going to be all. Hope you all enjoyed. Very fun war for me, and I'll see you all later. Bye.